keep on talking.
Hello and welcome to France 24's weekly music show with me, Marjorie Hash. My guest is a French jazz singer who over the last decade has paid tribute to the likes of Billie Holiday and Bessie Smith. For her new record, Women's Legacy, she delves into the world of work and prison songs from the 19th and 20th century, which most of the time were originally sung by African-American women. Sarah Lenka, welcome to France 24. First of all, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, well, first, I'm a French singer, and I studied in London for about a year and a half, and then I stayed there for 5 years. And I was not into jazz at all until I met a double bass player from New York, and he asked me to do a session, and I had no idea what it was. So I looked up in my roommate CDs, and I found one song of Ella Fitzgerald, and that's how it all started, kind of. And then I went back to Paris, and I tried to do like a course for vocal singers, and I met my musicians and so on. And then I started to do some songs and some maquettes, and yeah.
You fell totally in love with jazz and the world of jazz.
I fell in love not with jazz. I think I mostly fell in love with those singers, those women who talked about, how they been mistreated and the humor they had with it and how they dealt with it. And so I fell in love with those ones, kind of.
And so women's hardship has always been a central part to the music creation. And it's interesting because Billie Holiday, obviously, Bessie Smith, massive hits. But in this album, you're covering songs that weren't necessarily known by the bigger or greater public because they were prison or work songs. Can you tell us a bit how you fell into this? Because it's all about resilience and hardship again.
I think I was introduced by all those songs through Bessie Smith, which I did a tribute to before. And the way when I just learned about her life and where she came from, and I kind of fell on those songs a bit by instinct or research on the internet. And I loved the way that it was just a chance. Mm-hmm. And there were no instruments. It was just a woman who's singing whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was something really touched me there. So I kind of looked deeper, and so there were some singers, folk singers, and there were some women who were just prisoners somewhere. And I found it very moving. Yeah.
Well, let's check out one of the tracks from Women's Legacy, Sarah Lenka's new album. It's called Turn Me Around.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking and keep on talking, marching down to freedom's land. Ain't gonna let segregation turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let segregation turn me around. I'll just keep on walking and keep on talking and marching down to freedom's land. Ain't gonna let no.
One of the tracks you can find on Sarah Lenka's new album, who's our guest today on France 24. Tell us a little bit more about how you chose the tracks, because you can find some hits like Betty. You've also got Trouble So Hard, which everyone knows thanks to Moby revival. It will not talk about Moby's weird situation with Natalie Portman, which is the headlines. But there's also like ballads from 7th to 17th century, which are Scottish songs that were recorded in prisons there too. How did you pick all those songs?
Well, thanks to the Alan Lomax, this ethnologue, you say, he did a trip to the south, and there were many recordings where he went to those prison farms, and I kind of I've listened to a lot of his work and many other songs, and I think I chose them. Some melodies were more
catchy,
to my ears at least, and some vocals. I think it was more which one I prefer, kind of, on all those ones. And there's some songs that I might have really liked, but I couldn't sing them anyway. So it's I think how you meet a song, I would say. Yeah.
And what's also interesting is a lot of the music was by African American women who, throughout history, have been one of the most discriminated people in the population. You yourself, you're French, you're white.
Yes.
How did you tackle putting your spin on those songs?
I think the link is how you use your voice, where at one point in your life, whatever you have lived, there is no words to express anything, and the way you can deal with abuse or mistreating or a shock, and then suddenly you can't talk and there's silence, there's no words, and for me that's at this point where where new thing arrived, and I think that's my link, the way women deal with suffering, I think.
And it's very stripped down to take to stage as well, because obviously these were songs with the work environment, giving the rhythm to the songs. How are you taking that to stage?
I think the first step was to arrange all those songs who are mostly repetitive, because it was meant to be easily remembered. And so the way we arrange all this, I think we tried to make it to keep simplicity in all this. And on stage, I think try to have a message, kind of, and not it's a message of first to make a homage or a tribute to those women and the women today, and to give some hope somewhere, and to celebrate it.
Yes, because they're full of hope, those songs.
Yeah. And that's how a collective chance changed history, and it could continue this way, I guess.
Well, you're going to treat us quite shortly in a few minutes on France 24 to an acoustic version of one of those tracks. But first, we're going to take a look at some of the new releases that are out this week. And we're starting off with grime royalty Skepta. He's this week releasing the follow-up to his 2016 Mercury winning prize album, Konnichiwa. The new offering is called Ignorance is Bliss, and going by the album's artwork by Manu S. Billie, the British artist is embracing recently becoming a father. But as you can tell from some of the singles, he's still not averse to using his music to gaslight others. Here's Skepta with Grease Mode.
I'ma break the law, then I'ma break the bank. I'ma put some in the safe, then I'ma throw some on the floor. Definitely make some more. 20 dates, had to go back on tour. She can see how I'm flexing, count my blessings, praise the Lord. You know the steez, super grease. Nothing nice, tell the promoter bring the peas. Still ain't safe, I'm in the party with my G's.
Go and check out the full song. I have to say, I'm not sure I'd really like to be the girl or even the guy Skepta is talking about in this track, taken from his new album, Ignorance is Bliss. Now, over to the world of indie rock. Scottish duo Sacred Paws are this week releasing their second album called Around the World. And that's where touring has taken them since their first record, which came out 2 years ago and won Best Scottish Album of the Year. The girls once again treat us to some sweet, sweet post-punk infused with some Afrobeat. Here's one of the tracks from the album, Sacred Paws, The Conversation. Sacred Paws there, who will be touring the UK in June and playing the Gaieté Lyrique in Paris on July the 5th as part of the Loud and Proud Festival. You can find all our culture news on the France 24 website. Obviously, you can follow us, on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. France 24 news is coming up in just a few minutes. But first, as promised, we've got Tao, who's joined us in the studio with Sarah Lenka to sing one of the recent album's songs. It's Diamond Joe. Sarah Lenka, take it away. Thank you so much for coming in.
Diamond Joe, you better come and get me. Diamond Joe, better come and get me. Diamond Joe, better come and get me. Diamond Joe, a Diamond Joe, you better come at me. Diamond Joe, you better come and get me. Diamond Joe, better come and get me. Diamond Joe, I'm out of doors, I ain't got clothes. Wanna go home, but I can't go. Diamond Joe, better come and get me. Diamond Joe, a Diamond Joe, you better come at me. Diamond Joe, better come and get me. Diamond Joe, better come and get me. Diamond Joe.